leash, leashes, and the rig. Rig up your dog. Finally, we reach the stage where the collar and harness are rigged up with leashes. In this photograph, I paused for a moment to take the photo. We are on our way to go on a walk out the gate. I've draped one of the leashes over Tsunami's back. Stop taking photos, Mom. Can we go for a walk now? The basic leash is not. The basic leash is not a show leash. It's not a long line. It's not a chain. It's not a homemade belt or strap, and it's not a cable. An overview of the leash. The leash has innumerable benefits during training, and it surely is an indispensable part of developing a great relationship with your dog. Avoid ill-fitting and cheap leashes. Cotton leashes tend to be the winning all-round leash, but may be hard to come by. Nylon leashes, on the other hand, are accessible, strong, aesthetically pleasing, and often have additional D-rings and reflectors. Ensure that additional bling on the leash does not interfere with handling. In the picture is my personal preference. A cotton leash with a hand loop on the one side and a nice firm clip on the other. The functions of a basic leash. There are many different functions for a dog leash. In the first picture, Jupiter and I went for a walk. So going for a walk is our first function. Then the second function, Tsunami sitting in the car, he's tied down for safety. On the bottom left, we've got Liu doing protection work. So control, a very important function of a dog leash. And finally, Tsunami is being taught as a tiny puppy. So teach using your dog leash. And then also your dog leash comes in very handy in emergencies, when you go to the vet. And there are many more functions of a dog leash. You may ask, should my dog wear a leash? When a new dog or puppy joins the family, the first few days to weeks of in-home training is certainly much eased by introducing a leash and wisely utilizing it for teaching, control, safety, and other functions that will become clear as training unfolds. According to law, your dog must remain on a leash in public places. It is therefore best to teach your dog to accept and enjoy leashes as part of living in a human symbiosis. Off-leash hiking opportunities certainly may be enjoyed once you have established a relationship of mutual trust with your dog. The recall needs to be unwavering in addition. And many other factors should also be considered, which will be the topic of future discussion. The parts of a quality leash. To achieve successful ownership of any size dog in an urbanized world definitely involves a lot of work using one or two leashes of varying lengths. There are a myriad of types and sizes of leash on the market. Most of these are for use in advanced training or working situations and are not useful for living with a dog in a town or city. Your leash should be made of cotton or optionally nylon. It should have a large, sturdy clip on the one end. It should have a hand loop on the other end. Stitching should be of excellent quality, sturdy, and fray-free. The pup needs the leash. The pup is fitted with a leash for the first time. This is part A. As with fitting your pup or adult dog with a collar or harness for the first time, Have a treat or other alternative distraction at the ready. At first introduction, the long leash is popped onto the harness only and the pup allowed to simply drag the leash. Confident pups should gain the skill quickly, but pups higher in flight drives could show stress or fear during leash dragging stage. Use treats and other distractions to assist the dog in gaining trust in the leash, and do not rush the process. It may take a few days with certain pups. Only once the dog gladly moves around with the leash dragging do you pick up the leash for the first time. And without any pressure, you now desensitize the pup to the hovering version of the same leash. This step may again stretch over a few hours to a few days. The final introduction stage involves slight pressure to the harness given through the leash communication cord. Once the pup commences following the lead, change the harness leash to the shorter leash and move over the now familiar long leash to the collar, following the exact same procedure as before. Our final goal is 2 leashes fitted, ready to be used to condition reactions to prompts. The pup is fitted with a leash for the first time. Part B. You must once again lay a positive foundation for future use of the leashes. Upon first introduction or 2, the leashes are in fact not even used to allow the pup to just become used to the presence of this tool. Dogs low in drives within pack might not readily accept the leashes at first fitting. Higher scores in fight mode, rank order focus or LAS could have your pup be more stubborn during first fitting and needing more time to accept. A pup high on the flight score could be expected to take longer to accept the harness and could show fear responses like hiding, running away, and even freezing up. Use high value reward, patience, and encouragement to help the pup understand the fallacy of his own fears. A high prey drive dog could present you with a playful nature and once again enjoying the process while still affirming the outcomes you are aiming to train. Remember to use your mother tongue or your home language when helping your dog associate words with items and actions. So, use some of the following vocabulary. Leash, name objects. Wait, ask your dog to remain stationary until instructed otherwise. Your pup should learn to tolerate within reason whatever is happening. Tethering, to teach. The pup meets his leash. Tethering your pup to you. Teach your pup everything. A rule of thumb is to supervise your pup when you are around and available, and to confine your pup to a dog-appropriate area until your return. This confinement is a temporary kenneling of your dog at your home only until your dog is able to live with you successfully. Successfully integrating with your pack involves a lot of teaching of your life principles that your pup should internalize. This is best achieved by the tether and teach techniques. In some circumstances, the tether may be tied to your person, and in others, you should rather hold the tether, leash, in your hand. Now you can use the tool to direct and reward. Initially, try to focus on a positive approach. the leash is not yet a correction tool, because at this stage of training, you are still building trust between yourself and your companion. See the tether as a way of preventing accidents and of being available to teach your pup in each encounter it has. The first week is very crucial in your dog developing principles to abide by. In each context, it is thrust. The second and third week builds upon week 1, and you will find that learning starts to accelerate. Once your pup understands the rules of the home and how to manage himself in the environment that he shares with you, then tethering may be used only occasionally to teach more advanced behaviors. Let me draw your attention to the right of the page. Remember, crating and home kenneling is of a temporary nature to enable viable teaching opportunities. Since I've already used the video of him meeting his harness for the first time during the harness lesson, here is him meeting his leash for the first time on collar. Look at his responses. I'd like you to also note that I'm not touching the leash. The puppy picks it up, he runs away with it, and then I don't play tug of war. I don't try and get the leash back from the puppy. I rather go for a trade. So towards the end of the video, you will see me going to fetch an alternative high-value toy that I can trade for the leash. This is the very first time that the puppy meets the leash. He doesn't know what's going on, and he needs to learn that his teeth and his mouth needs to be on a toy and not on his leash. Here in the video that I am laughing and it's all a jolly event and I'm not being aggressive towards the puppy. I want the puppy to have a good experience this very, very first time on the leash. A very really little pup, and there's actually a lot going on in this video, but we'll revisit all the other details in a future chapter. Notice towards the end of the video how I already have the leash in my hand and the puppy has already got the idea that the mouth should be on the toy. So literally within a span of 2-3 minutes, I got this puppy to focus on his toy. Forget about the leash. The leash doesn't exist. Now, it won't be this easy with all puppies, but this is the process, whether it stretches over just a couple of moments or whether it stretches over a couple of days. There you will have to judge according to what your individual dog can or cannot do, and also then the drives that motivates your dog. Right before the end of the video, you can see where I'm in fact tethering. We've now tethered him. He's not paying attention to the leash anymore. Now I'm teaching. I walk after him, and as soon as he encounters something or tries to engage with something that he shouldn't, then I can give a little pull on that leash, little pull on the collar, and then make sure that I reward afterwards or engage him with something that is rewarding. Notice how I don't nitpick. A piece of grass that he's going for, that he can quite happily have. So there, I just leave that. I just don't want him to pick up things that's going to be dangerous for him in the future. Eventually, I have to have quite a pace to keep up with him running towards his food bowls. Completely forgotten about the leash. The video ends with me saying good boy, which is the conditioned reinforcer. Him eating some food, which is another reward. And notice how I take that leash off and I use the word free, and that tells the puppy that the leash has been taken off. This is the first time that the puppy hears this word, so at this stage it doesn't mean anything, but through repeated use and staying consistent in the use of that word, I can condition my puppy to know what to expect after hearing that word cue or exchange. And he even gets a final little pat.
So leiband. Dis 'n leiband. Dis 'n leiband wat hardloop. Hy sê dis ook iets wat ek nou gaan vat, dis nou myne. Nou myne, is dit jou, né? Ons gaan kry daai speel, ons gaan nou moet ruil. Ons gaan met die leiband ruil vir 'n speelding. Hierso. Ja! Jy geself punish toe. O, hierso. Hierso. That's a good boy. Hierso speelding. Los. Ja, good boy. Hierso is jou speelding. Hierso is jou speelding. Good boy. Good boy.
Wat maak jy? Wat maak jy? Huh?
Hey. Bulldozer nommer 2. Ja, daar gaat hy, good boy. Speel. Speel met jou bal. Good boy. Nee. Nee. It's alright, dis niks. Whoa, good boy. 3.
In the second clip, I demonstrate another trick where you, in fact, tether a toy to the tether. And then if the puppy does try to go for the leash, there's a toy instead. A little bit of a trick that you could try if you have a puppy that tends to want to chew on the leash or grab the leash, find the leash very stimulating. Take note how I'm still following the puppy. I'm not asking for any direction changes. The leash is totally loose at this point and the puppy's going wherever he wants to go. And I'm just following along. If the puppy encounters a dangerous thing, I've got the tether, I'm ready. I can then quickly, no, don't go there, or change direction. Preferably at this stage, not quite yet. The puppy's not quite yet ready to experience a pressure on the flat collar around the neck. As the puppy plays with the toy, I'm saying toy, and so conditioning that word as well. A lot of opportunity in this short clip. Let's watch the clip because there are some other comments contained therein.
Dat is, oh god. Dat is speelding. Dat is kouding, ja. Dat is speelding. Ja. Good boy. They say donut. It's a donut. Good boy. It's a donut. Ek sien nou sy getether. Hierdie is nou tethering. Paul, ek het my nie aan belt vasgemaak, ek hou het net in my hand vas.
Wanneer gaan ons as ek moet staan en dan my vas?
Wel, dit begin nou daai tyd raak, want hy begin nou vinniger hardloop as wat ons mense hom kan vang. En die oomblik wat hy agterkom, hy kan weghardloop vir 'n mens en jy kan hom nie vang nie, dan het 'n mens 'n nuwe probleem. Klim. Klim. So ek wil hê dat hy sommer van die begin af moet weet. Wag. Okay, free.
In the following video, Tsunami is being taught how to ride in the car. He has been tethered to the seat to ensure that he doesn't climb everywhere and all over the show. Now I'm going to teach him how to stand in the middle. Again, notice how I use my mother tongue to communicate specific phrases. I keep it clear, I keep it consistent, and the puppy is not only learning the behavior, but also the word cues or the exchanges that are associated with these behaviors.
Good boy. Huh? That's it.
Staan in die middel. Staan, good boy. Staan in die middel, good boy.
It's growing big, bro.
Hy's so slim. Hy's so slim. Staan in die middel. Wat maak hulle? Wat maak hulle? Good boy. Then the puppy becomes chewy. So what do? We retrieve some chews from the puppy bag. The puppy's nose does win in the end because we give him a little chewy, but of course the treats are way nicer. I always say out of sight, out of mind. Let's have a look at the video.
Nee, moet go.
Does a
Treats is
O, wee. Ek sal dit op 'n ander plek aan met sit gee my hier.
And here I'm using the exact same chew to coax the puppy forward, and the minute he stands in the middle, then he's going to self-reward by getting the chew. In addition to the chew, I also use physical touch. I use the conditioned reinforcer, good boy, well done. And I stay consistent and patient and positive.
On die GoPro.
Hey, almost done to buy.
As hy kom staan in die middel.
Oh, that's it.
Good boy.
See.
Staan in die middel.
Good boy. In the next clip, we're already on the road. As you can see, I've got Tsunami tethered to the seat by the harness for safety's sake. And then he was signaling that he was hungry, and I've just given him a few pellets to chew on, straight from the bag. Let's look next at leash lengths. In order to achieve maximum benefit in most situations, your dog should have 2 leashes available at all times. Small to medium dogs, 1.5 meter leash and a 1.8 meter leash. And then for larger dogs, a 1.2 meter leash and a 1.5 meter leash. Check and adjust the leashes as your dog grows or your training advances. Replace with a larger size once your dog's weight could snap stitching, clips or D-rings. Rather replace your leashes too early than waiting too long and finding your dog on the loose due to a breakage or fatigue failure. Let's dig into foundational leash techniques. In my hand, I have 2 leashes of different lengths. You can see that the difference isn't that much. It really is the difference between the collar and the harness. Your leash length should be long enough so that there is a loop in the leash between the hand loop and your left hand. If the loop in the leash hangs under your knees, then the leash is too long. There should be enough leash left over that there is another little loop that comes up to the collar. We're going to teach the dogs not to pull on the collar, so the leash in fact has to hang with a slight loop. It's highly undesirable to fall over your own leash. This is usually the scenario when the leash is too long for the dog. The best thing to do is to buy a shorter leash. Another thing that may occur with too long a leash is in fact stepping on the leash, and that is not only dangerous for you, that you can have a fall, but also for the dog. The dog would get quite a fright at you losing control of the leash all of a sudden. This is the learning phase. Very important that the tool that we use during the learning phase is the correct tool so that we don't bury ourselves in problems that we're going to encounter down the line because of errors we make during this learning phase. Error number 1, wrapping the leash around your hand. Never, never do that. It is extremely dangerous and it does not give you better control. Here is an excellent example of how not to do things. The leash is all wrapped around the hand. Very, very dangerous. I know you're asking to have a broken finger, a dislodged shoulder, an injured elbow. This dog is it's still the first lesson for this Weimaraner, still in that step out harness. So in fact, this is quite an ineffective way to have proper control of your dog. In the following video, I'm going to show you exactly how to hold and control 2 leashes on collar and harness. This is what we call the rig.
I start off by putting both leashes. In fact, I'd rather I put the harness first than the other leash. I take up both leashes, and then if I need to take up the whole leash in my left hand, I turn my left hand inwards, open my hand, and I put my leashes in with the others. I remain connected to my flat collar, and I've got my harness. If that's in the way, one can always tuck that in as well. To retake my grip, I simply grab those leashes and I'm back where I used to be. Okay. Then there is another thing. I can also take the leash over there, 3 fingers on the leash, make sure that up to the clip is slightly loose, and then obviously I grip on top of the sand. So then I can use my left hand for whatever I need to use for.
Time to practice.
So I put the harness first, then the other leash. And then if I need to take up the whole leash in my left hand, the others. I remain connected to my flat collar, and I've got my harness. To retake my grip, three fingers on the leash. Slightly loose, and then obviously I grip on top of the sand. So then I can use my left hand.
Proper use of the leash. Pulling on the lead, dangerous. Not only is it unpleasant and unsightly to walk a dog who has no lead manners, you can also get a back or shoulder injury. Such a dog is also unsafe for children to walk. Tight versus loose lead. Your lead should hang loose at all times during obedience, agility, tracking, and ordinary daily activities. A tight lead is used in protection work to increase bite pressure and to increase prey drive. A loose lead is desirable to indicate a relaxed, usual situation. In the first picture on the right, Nikita is sitting on a loose leash. In the second picture, she demonstrates beautifully how to heel on a loose leash. And at the bottom, Baltan is working on a tight leash, trying to grab that assailant. Here I have both leashes in my right hand. I'm a right-handed person, so my dog will be naturally on my left. If you are a left-handed person, you are allowed to do it the other way around. So your dog is on your right and you keep the leashes in your left hand. Your strong hand is really the one that should be able to be freed up easily. And your left hand is the one with which you keep your dog under control. In this snippet, the puppy's getting away from me, and thus I need to get hold of the longer leash, take up connection with the collar, and ask the puppy to come back towards me with slight pressure and much encouragement and reward. Fitting 2 leashes to the pup for the first time.
Ons gaan die leibande aansit. Die leibande aansit. As hy leiband 1 aan sy collar vasmaak. Sy leiband 2 aan sy harnas vasmaak. Dis hy. En dan het ons pressure op die harnasie en die ander een hang los, sodat ek so kan werk. Kom, 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 kom baba, kom baba, kom baba, kom, kom kleinkie, kom. Kom my liefie. Raai wat het ek? Ja, raai wat het ek? Good boy, gaan jy nou mooi saamloop, hè? Jy nou mooi saamloop, ja. Hierso. Loop, daddy. Okay. Net so maak. Okay, kom. Let's go. Mooi. Daddy. Wag, wag. Kom. Kom. Mooi. Mooi.
A leash is not for. A leash is not for tying up a dog in any way, hanging up a dog, dragging a dog around, or hitting a dog. The rig, all-round control. Use the leashes and rig correctly to control your dog in certain situations. At Canine and H, we recommend that any dog wear both a harness and collar for maximum safety, but also for effective training and living with your dog over the long term. The Canine and H rig is the ultimate way to ensure that your dog is controllable, secure, and able to receive effective communication from you without causing harm or injury. Our final goal is the correct rig, correctly fitted, and correctly used. Warnings. A leash is for training. and should be placed on the dog to bring your dog under control. Once you have finished working with your dog, you should take the leashes off. Never leave a leash on a dog or puppy unsupervised. In the next video, I'm going to demonstrate another danger.
So wat mens altyd doen is jy check jou leiband voor jy hom gebruik. Want hierdie een is vol dorings en as 'n mens nou eina sê met hierdie klein hondjie, dan skrik hy vir sy eie leiband. Hierdie leiband is nog bietjie swaar vir hom. So ons werk maar ligtelik daarmee. Hierdie enetjie is die ene wat ons om die nek het, and that's the one that counts. This one we're gonna keep elevated.
Bonus clips. Reading your puppy is very important, especially at the beginning of the building of your relationship. In the following video, I'm going to slow down the clip so that you can appreciate all the signals that Tsunami sends during his very first introduction to the double leash system, and then immediately we started moving forward using rewards. This video is intended to help you learn some dog language because it's not a one-way street during training. Reading what your dog is telling you in a situation will help you appreciate the mode that your dog is in and help you to understand frustration or misunderstandings, and at the end of the day build a relationship where we trust each other and we understand each other. We can say the dog is giving calming signals, especially the little tongue flick. That's a calming signal saying, I mean no harm, I come in peace.
Mooi, mooi.
Objectives you reached. Now you, 1, know what a general use leash is not. 2, know what a general use leash is. 3, know the functions or benefits of a leash. 4, know whether your individual dog or client dog should wear a leash. 5, know and can explain the parts of a quality leash. 6, can help a pup or adult dog meet his or her leash for the first time. 7, understand and can apply the tether and teach techniques to achieve a positive approach. 8, have an overview of the broad phases of learning and have noted that all phases are followed by reward for the correct behavior now presented. 9, know that crating or kenneling or confining is a temporary teaching mechanism. 10, have learned watching real-time sports cam video by observing the actual first introduction of a leash to an Ambull pup. 11, know that you should use your mother tongue or home language consistently. 12, know that a leash is a put-on, take-off piece of equipment. 13, know what an expression is according to how K9H applies language acquisition by dogs. 14, have learned the basics of tethering at home and in a car or other vehicle. 15, know the different leash lengths that is applicable in your situation and know when replacement or upgrade is needed. 16, know that a good leash, well fitted and used, saves lives. 17, now you have been introduced to the K9H double leash system to prepare you and your dog for any situation that may arise. Further K9H courses are needed to master using the leashes effectively in various situations. 18, know why the wrong leash lengths can harm you and your dog. 19, Know the most basic errors in handling leashes. 20. Know whether your dog should be on your left or right side. 21. Know which hand goes into the hand loop and which communicates through the collar. 22. Won't forget to reward regularly. 23. Are able to rig up your dog or puppy correctly at a basic level. 24. Are able to hold your leashes correctly using both hands. 25. Are able to free up one hand without losing control of your leashes or your dog and have practiced this repeatedly. 26. Realize that you should stay closely connected to your dog or pup by collar in high demand situations without tightening to pressure. 27. Have seen how often touch reward is associated with a conditioned positive reinforcer, good boy, in order to maintain a strong response. 28. Know that you have two avenues during emergency situations. If you take up the collar leash, you will gain control and communication versus taking up the harness leash, which will allow the dog to engage the threat. Also know that your leashes should otherwise lack pressure to signal a usual stress-free situation. 29. Know that pulling on a leash is acceptable as long as that leash is connected to the harness and that such is not just out of control. 30. Have observed how a pup is introduced to the double leash system, as well as accepting light pressure on collar. 31. Use the lure and reward technique for the first time to coax the pup or dog forward and direct attention away from the leashes. 32. Know what a leash is not for. 33. Know that the K9H rig is the ultimate way to ensure no harm, no injury, effective communication, control, and security. 34. Apply the correct rig, correctly fitted and used. 35. Can see beyond the obvious when it comes to the dangers you may face if you do not check all your equipment before heading out of your property with your companion. 36. Bonus video follows. Learn to read facial expressions as a foot in the door into reading dog behavior, body, and other signals emanating from you. Meet the tongue flick. Glossary of exchanges in order of appearance. Leash put on. It's your leash. Here you go. Good boy. There you go. Toy. Here's your toy. Leave the leash. Play. Play with your ball. No. That's the introduction to poisoning prevention training. It's all right. It's nothing. Wow. Food. Eat. Free. Toothing. There's your climb up. Wait. Okay, free. Toy. Stand in the middle. He's so clever. What are you doing? What are they doing? How about this one? Tasty. We're going to put on your leashes. This is the introduction to the future tense. Leash 1, put it on his collar. Introduction to the third person. Leash 2, put on his harness. There you go, signaling it's happy. Come. Guess what? Guess what I have? Here you go. Walk. That's good. Okay. Something ended and something new is starting. Come, let's go. Beautiful. Wait. Come. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for training your dog with K9 and H. I hope you found your K9 and H mini course rewarding. You have now mastered the general use leash and also how to rig up your dog for every occasion. Your journey continues with the K9 and H course Treats, which is designed to help you not only understand what positive reinforcement training entails, but also use treats and other rewards to teach your dog more and more advanced behavior sequences. Please join me for the K9 and H Treats course, where we take your learning further and also help you make the right choices for your companion or those of your clients. See you there. Yours faithfully, Bronwyn Rowland. Don't forget, refer your family and friends and those dogs and puppies in need. Education is my mission because through knowledge of owners, the lives of many more dogs, their humans, and aspiring trainers can be improved.